Welcome to Airsoft vs. Reality Part 2. On the top we have a Cyma CM048 stamped steel receiver and real wood furniture. And below we have a Wasser 10 with a stamped sheet metal receiver as an AKM and real wood furniture. The differences in weight, when not directly compared with one in one hand and one in the other, feel very similar. This one is pretty light, and this one's just a little bit lighter, hardly even noticeable. The stock on this one is hollow, and there's a less steel in the front end. This model is technically an AK-74. The difference between the AK-47 and 74 models of the airsoft rifles are that the gas tubes, the AK-47 is slanted, whereas the 74 is vertical, and the muzzle brake is a slant as opposed to this brake. They didn't have the AK-47 at the time, so about the 74, they're exactly the same otherwise. To take off the dust cover, the spring is a lot weaker. It feels about 1/3 or 1/4 compared to the real AK. The dust covers are thinner on the real AK compared to the airsoft one. The whole airsoft AK is wider than the real AK, coming down to the grip with the motor in it. It feels about half or 1/3 as wide compared to the real AK. So here we have the real AK grip. It's about 1 inch at most. And then we have the airsoft grip, which is about 2 inches wide. Showing again the real one. There you go. The charging handle on the airsoft version only goes so far, which is just about enough for the safety. So with the safety on or off, it doesn't matter, it only goes so far. There's also no cut over here. So in my opinion, the screw that holds the safety in, which this is screwed in, will wear out and you might have a problem later. With the real AK, where the dust cover is harder to put on, with the safety on, the dust cover stops here, and that's it, because it comes up a little bit higher. If you were to weaken the tension of the safety, you'd probably go a little bit further up to the handle, but because of the high part on the safety, you can only do chamber checks. With the safety off, the charging handle goes all the way to the back, or nearly all the way to the back. See, it's mostly back. Taking off the gas chambers is the same. You can use the gas block or the bolt carrier to lift it up, and you can replace the gas tube. Comes off. On the airsoft, there is a screw, or there's not a screw. Some models do have a screw here, but this is not a Tokyo Marui clone. This comes apart by the pin here, as opposed to screws under here. Lift this up, much simpler. And it's a little bit stiffer. The original AK was nearly as stiff, if not stiffer than this one, but I don't take the gas tube off of the airsoft AK. The difference now is that there's a spring here. This flat spring is on the airsoft version. This is the real gas tube and the airsoft AK, and it does not fit. It is a little bit longer. This is hollow. I will take off the spring. Does it fit on here? No. Something about the angle is not quite right. This is hitting the front sight part, so it does not fit. The part up here does have the groove on the real AK, so it, from P, which is your combat sight, it goes down for 100 in elevation, and then it goes up. And the spring is very stiff. This gun has a lot of serial numbers. The Airsoft also flips up and down. It's a lot weaker for the spring, but the combat sight, the P, or your combat sight, and then it goes up. So the sights are exactly the same. To adjust the front sight, it's also the same. You can push it. This is very weak because it's Airsoft, and you can thread the sight. On the real one, you would tap that or push that. Both guns will also accept real PSO style side clamp scopes. This one is a bit tight as it's set up for the Airsoft gun. The Airsoft one is definitely a lot smaller for the side clamp attachment piece, whereas the real one is wider. So when it's set up for Airsoft, it has to be, this tightening mechanism has to be set up to be a lot tighter. It's very stiff going onto the real one right now, but when it clamps onto the Airsoft one, it is solid. And it also lights up. I never put a battery in it, but this is a modern production and they still make them. Here we're just going to do one final comparison, and that's going to be the triggers. Trigger on Airsoft AK47 is very mushy, just squish all the way back. And then the real one comes back, kind of mushy the whole way through as well. It gets, so you do kind of one break, but for the most part, it's squishy, not crisp. Safety does not let you pull. See how far back the is? Almost touching. Unsafe. Hardly move. Now I'm never ever going to put it back in safety again. That is the differences and the similarities between Airsoft and real AKs.